Earth is old. Our miraculous rock hasn't been inhabited by humans from the beginning, but the planet is filled with brilliant cities boasting thousands of years of history. If you are new in our channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button and ring the bell for more updates. So what is the most ancient city in the world? A contentious question, but you might find the answer here. And in the name of geographical fairness, the list features the oldest cities on each continent, which explains the presence of places less than 300 years old. Age is relative, you could say. Without further ado, history buffs, this one's for you. Number 1. Jericho, West Bank. Whenever the world's oldest cities are discussed, Jericho is never far from the conversation. Located in the West Bank and not too far from the Jordan River, Jericho has been continuously inhabited for over 11,000 years, has been a significant trading post for much of its existence, and is even mentioned in the Old Testament. History continues to be made here. Jericho was the first city given to Palestine after the 1994 Oslo Accords. If you can see where Jesus fasted after being baptized by John the Baptist, go and see it, right? The Mount of Temptation is the place to go, with a cable car whizzing visitors up throughout the day. Number 2. Xian China. China has plenty of cities that date way back, but few carry as much weight as Xian. Formerly known as Chang'an, Xian has been inhabited for more than 3,000 years and also served as the capital for 13 dynasties, a total of 73 emperors, if you're counting. They don't call it the birthplace of Chinese civilization without good reason. Anything other than the iconic army of terracotta warriors feels wrong. Archaeological discoveries don't come much more famous. Number 3. Luxor, Egypt. Luxor has been in the news recently after archaeologists discovered the complete remains of a Roman city dating back 1,800 years. Luxor is no stranger to significant historical discoveries, this being the site of the ancient Egyptian capital Thebes after all, and don't rule out more being found in the years to come. Luxor is an archaeologist's dream, but there is plenty for casual tourists to love. Luxor is often described as the world's most impressive open-air museum, so put on your walking boots and explore temples, tombs, and the rest. Number 4. Colula, Mexico. Colula is a dizzying mixture of the old and the new, themselves a Russian doll of sorts inside the very new and the very, very old. Colula was founded around 500 BC in the form of 2 villages near water sources in the east, developing into the modern marvel of 150,000 give or take people that we know and love today. Colula is famous for its many churches, along with the busy markets and striking colonial architecture, and the whole world's largest pyramid thing. Mexico's 2 most famous volcanoes, Popocatépetl and Iztaccíhuatl, provide a dramatic backdrop to the whole thing. The world's largest pyramid by volume was built in 4 stages that span 9 centuries, 3rd BC to 9th AD, but that shouldn't be a huge surprise. It is massive, after all. The majestic Iglesia Nuestra Señora de los Remedios sits atop the pyramid, as picturesque a church as you will find anywhere in Mexico. Number 5. Argos, Greece. History lovers have been flocking to Greece since people flocked anywhere, so it shouldn't be a great surprise to find Europe's oldest city here. Argos takes the prize, a beauty in Peloponnese that was once the most powerful of all Greek cities. You must travel back to 1200 BC for those times, and Argos today is a darling regional center with plenty to engage all types of visitors. History is king, of course. The ancient Argos Theater was built partially into rock and was also the site of a market that predates even the Showcase Center. Events and performances are still held here today, more than 2,300 years after it was built. Number 6. Moulton, Pakistan. Several cities claim to be the oldest in Central and South Asia, with places as varied as Samarkand, Peshawar, and Kandahar making valid claims. But the archaeological magic in and around Moulton gives it the edge. History goes way back here, and Moulton's timeline is a who's who of empires, from Alexander the Great to the British via the Mongol, Mughal, and more. Pakistan's City of Saints is a beautiful city with plenty of stories to tell. Moulton is filled with tombs, but the historic Moulton Fort is the highlight. The original fort was built here between 800 and 1000 BC and has been destroyed and rebuilt several times since. It is a seriously grandiose piece of historic architecture. Number 7. Beijing, China. Beijing tends to find itself near the top of most lists of the world's oldest cities. One of the biggest cities on the planet at the time of writing, the population was flirting with 22 million. China's chaotic capital is also one of the oldest on the planet with more than 3,000 years of history under its belt. What's more, the sprawling city is surrounded by historical monuments, including a certain Great Wall that you may or may not have heard a thing or two about. Tan's Temple is the oldest in Beijing and is widely regarded as the catalyst for the city's initial development. As the saying goes, first comes Tan's, then comes the city. Number 8. Jen, Mali. No, your eyes aren't fooling you. Jen might look like something straight out of a movie set, but this ancient city is a very real place, a clay city of stories on the banks of the Bani and Niger rivers. Jen was first inhabited around 2000 BC, but a tumultuous history has seen people come and go. The same is true of tourists, although the current dearth makes for a serene visit. It isn't exactly the easiest to get to. Jen is an 8-hour drive from Bamako, although most visitors approach the ancient city from Mopti in the north. It isn't the oldest thing in Jen, but how often do you get to see the largest mud brick building in the world? The current incarnation of Jen's Great Mosque was constructed in 1907, but mosques have been erected on this spot since the 13th century. Number 9. Quito, Ecuador. Widely believed to be the oldest continuously inhabited city in South America, Ecuador's capital was actually the first city along with Krakow to be given UNESCO World Heritage status on the original list in 1978. That alone tells you how well preserved Quito's historic center is, and a trip to the city is a journey to the Spanish conquests of the mid-16th century. There are older archaeological sites in South America, but no modern city touches Quito on the age scale. It has to be the historic center, right? Founded on the ruins of an Inca city in the 16th century, Quito's nerve center of churches and monasteries is what the crowds flock to see. Number 10. Varanasi, India. The holiest city in the world's oldest religion must be pretty old, right? Believers and cynics have been exploring Varanasi for centuries, and India's spiritual capital has been a center of learning and culture for over 3,000 years. Varanasi might be even older. It is said that the city was founded by Shiva, but today it is a stunning city of temples and tasks. Varanasi is packed with temples, but the imposing Shri Tilpandishwar Mahadev Mandir is the oldest. Considering the city's age, it doesn't seem so old. It was constructed in the 18th century, but it remains a stunning structure. Number 11. Byblos, Lebanon. Ancient Byblos has built itself a reputation for being one of the finest day trips from Beirut, but those who choose to nip in and out of the city are missing a trick. First occupied around 8800 BC, the center of town today shimmers with energy, from the old souk to the citadel. Many a civilization has passed through Byblos, each leaving a mark one way or another. People have lived here since Neolithic times, which is a long, long time ago. The markets are the highlight. Take a moment to consider the centuries of different peoples who have traded currency and conversation here. Number 12. Plavdiv, Bulgaria. Considered by most to be the oldest continuously inhabited city in Europe, Plovdiv is a city that continues to evolve and develop. People have lived in Bulgaria's second largest city for 8,000 years, but a blossoming restaurant and cafe scene showcases Plovdiv's thirst for excitement. Still, history buffs will find themselves with plenty to enjoy, from amphitheaters to old towns and more. A visit to Nebatip is a must. One of the hills surrounding the city, it was here that human settlement in these pots began, with ruins dating back to 4000 BC. Number 13. Hanoi, Vietnam. Hanoi has seen plenty over the course of its history. The Vietnamese capital was founded in 257 BC by an Duong Vuong, ruler of the Olak Kingdom, if you were wondering, but humans have been setting up camp here since the Paleolithic times. Hanoi today is beloved for its food, bustling streets, and cultural venues, and history plays a major role in any self-respecting exploration of this thrilling city. The one-pillar pagoda dates back to 1049 and is one of the most iconic attractions in a country packed with them. Number 14. Sydney, Australia. Okay, it might seem somewhat strange to include a city established in 1788 on this list, let alone one on a continent inhabited by humans for at least 65,000 years, but the world is a strange place. Sydney was the first city established in modern Australia when a ship of prisoners and soldiers led by Arthur Phillip completed a hellish journey from the other side of the world. The city's founding date, January 2026, is also celebrated as Australia Day, further cementing the importance of Harbour City in Australia's history. Be sure to check out the old Government House. Constructed at the beginning of the 19th century, this is the oldest public building in Australia. Number 15. Athens, Greece. You can't talk about historic cities without mentioning Athens, the birthplace of Western civilization, and all that jazz. Continuously inhabited for over 3,000 years, the Greek capital has been pushing the envelope since the very beginning, giving us everything from democracy to Western philosophy. Athens is a city focused on the here and now, but its thousands of years of history inform every nook and cranny. The historical highlights of Athens are well documented, and a tour of the capital is a roller coaster ride through some of the planet's most famous historical attractions. With that in mind, why not pay a visit to Sarah's Tavern, thought to be the oldest restaurant in the city?